What's up, you guys? It's your girl. I am Nicole Knox. And so today I'm discussing on how I had COVID-19 coronavirus slash pneumonia. So January 6th, I was hospitalized for having coronavirus slash pneumonia. These were my symptoms. I had chills, lost my sense of smell, lost my sense of taste. I had a headache. I felt like I was in total body pain. I was fatigued. I hadn't eaten for 8+ days. I'll go into how I didn't eat for 8+ days and the reason for that. And um, I had shortness of breath and I had a massive headache and I had diarrhea and had no control over my bladder. So let's start over and tell you what happened. So end of December, me and my sister and sister-in-law decided that we were going to start the master cleanse. So we started it December 27th. Now, my family celebrates Christmas Eve. It doesn't celebrate Christmas Day. So we did our Christmas party on the 20th. After the Christmas party, several people in my family tested positive for coronavirus. So I had taken me and my kids to go immediately 2 to 3 days later, get us tested for coronavirus. We all tested negative. So I'm like, okay, cool. I go to a friend's video release party that happened on the 26th. And small little gathering, probably like no longer than like 2 hours we were all together. And after that, me and my sister-in-law decided to do the 3-day master cleanse. So mind you, I attributed all my symptoms to that, the master cleanse. So I felt like, okay, I'm doing the saltwater cleanse. I'm taking stool softeners. So all of these toxins just coming out my nose. And that's the reason why my boo-boo is soft, is because I'm taking the saltwater cleanse and I'm taking stool softeners. So it doesn't even dawn on me that, this is possible COVID symptoms. So then here we go into the store. Mind you, I have been, I pretty much did pretty good during quarantine, and but I still was out. But I always wore my mask, wiping stuff down, wiping my hands. I was pretty good about that. So me and my daughter go into Victoria's Secret, and I'm spraying some sprays at Victoria's Secret, but I couldn't smell them, which was weird because I had previously been in the store not that long ago, and I could smell everything, so it was weird. So again, I attributed that to maybe because my nose is running from being cleaning out these toxins. That's the reason why I can't smell. But as a precaution, I said, let me get out the store because that was weird. And I immediately left them all. I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay in the house because that was kind of weird until, all of the side effects, go away from this master cleanse. So then I started this cough. I have a history of asthma. So bronchitis, the weather, when the weather changes, I'm pretty susceptible to bronchitis. So once I started getting this bad cough, I was like, okay, this is bronchitis. This is start of bronchitis. The weather's changing here in Southern California. So I'm just going to start my antibiotics, do my breathing treatments, use my inhaler, and start my steroids. So that's my normal protocol for my bronchitis. No problem. So I started that. Now, this is where everything starts going crazy. For some reason, I can't control my bladder. I'm unable to eat anything. I hadn't eaten anything for now 8 days. Actually, for now 5 days. A little bit over 5 days. Because, mind you, I did the master cleanse and now I'm sick. So I've been in the bed for now about a week after my master cleanse, and I'm not eating. I'm not doing anything. So I'm in the bed and my body is in pain. I'm having I'm constantly sweating. I can't get up. It's like taking a lot of energy for me to even go to the bathroom. So my family is begging me, like, go to the hospital, go to the hospital, go to the hospital. It gets to the point where my daughter is like, if you don't go to the hospital, I'm going to call my dad, who's my ex-husband, and I'm going to tell him to take you to the hospital because you're refusing to go. And I kept telling my daughter, like, oh, I'm going to go, I'm going to go, I'm going to go. Finally, I collapse in the bathroom, and I'm telling my mom. My mom had already noticed that I couldn't breathe because she said your breathing is weird, and I didn't think nothing of it. But my mom kept saying your breathing is weird, and I was like, oh, I'll just do another breathing treatment, I'll be fine. I'll just take another inhaler. I'll just puff my inhaler, I'll be fine. And my mom was like, no, like, you're really struggling to breathe. And I was like, I know, but I'll just use my inhaler. Everything's gonna be fine. So my daughter's like, if you don't go, I'm gonna call my dad. So I decide January 6th, I'm going to take myself to the doctor because I don't want my daughter to call her father. So I'm getting ready to I'm trying to build up the strength to take myself. But my mom's like, I'll take you. So just get dressed so I take you to the hospital myself. So while I'm using the restroom, it took me a lot of strength to build up to go to the restroom. I end up collapsing in the bathroom. And as I'm collapsing, I'm just telling my mom, call 911. Because I can't breathe. And the attention was for me to get in the bathtub before I go to the doctor. Black people, we have this thing, make sure you have clean panties, make sure just clean before you go to the hospital. So that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get up, bathe, shower, and then my mom took me to the hospital. But I ended up collapsing while I was in the bathtub. So my daughter is like fishing me out of the bathroom. My mom is calling 911, and my daughter is trying to help me get dressed before 911 gets here. She's trying to get me alert. My mom's like plugging my nose to give me my inhaler. Like, they're trying everything until the ambulance gets here. Now, the ambulance get here, and I'm telling you right now, our healthcare system, but again, I get it. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody's scared. Throw a majority of our healthcare system, their bedside manner, and their humanity and their decency to people is just out the window. So I was just treated like shit. And they were like, oh, you could breathe, but my heart rate was off the chart. So there's like something's wrong because it's making her heart rate elevate. And maybe she's having a panic attack or anxiety attack, and that's the reason why. Like, but if she slows her breathing down, she'll be fine. But it's like, I can't slow my breathing down because I can't breathe. And they're like, oh, it seems like the readings are saying that you have enough oxygen. And I'm like, well, I'm struggling. Long story short, they're just mistreating me in the ambulance. And when I finally get to Kaiser, because I'm a Kaiser member, Kaiser is looking at my vitals, and they're like, this woman has COVID. And so the paramedics is like, oh, we were trying to ask your family if you came in contact. And I was like, well, yeah, I did come in contact with anybody, but I tested negative. So they're like, we're just going to admit her because we know she has COVID. This is the reason why her chart is like this. She has COVID. So they run a bunch of tests, do a chest x-ray and everything. And I come back with, I have COVID pneumonia. And that's the reason why I couldn't breathe. And I had pneumonia basically in every chamber of my lungs. I'm not a doctor, I apologize, so I don't know what that means. But basically I had pneumonia throughout my lungs, and I had COVID throughout my lungs, and my lungs were severely damaged. So, they have all their medical equipment on. I've been near death quite a bit, so that's unfortunate for me. So they come in all geared up, and they're just like, now my entire family's on FaceTime. They're like, I don't know. Apple is amazing, so I don't know how we fit all those people on FaceTime for the doctor to deliver me and them the news at the same time. So here we go. They're giving us the information, and basically they're saying like, I'm headed for the worst of the worst, and they're gonna try to keep me comfortable there, but based off what they see, it's inevitable that I will be on a respirator. So my family is distraught. I'm distraught, and they're like, this is going to be a 14-day fight, but we're going to do the best that we can. So I'm immediately admitted. For anybody that has family members in the hospital, to give you some background, as far as I know, it was 2 COVID patients to a room. You have 2 people coughing. You have 2 people fighting for their life. you have two people struggling to breathe, so you can hear your partner struggling to breathe. It's the most depressing, inhumane experience I've ever experienced in my life. We were alone. And I thank God that my family was on FaceTime all day, all night. Which means that they never got off the phone. So they were able to talk to the doctors and nurses. They monitored everything that the doctors and nurses hung up to put in my IV. Whatever they gave me, they asked questions. They even watched me sleep because I was on so much oxygen. I couldn't breathe. I was incoherent. And just so I wouldn't be, I was by myself. My ex-husband and my cousin, because they had COVID themselves, but they had no symptoms, but they had tested positive for COVID. They was like, well, we all got COVID, so we can just sit in a room with her just to make sure that we can bathe her, turn her over, things like that. So of course the hospital was like, no, you can't be in there. But my family was like, you're not bathing them. You're not turning us over. But we were given 2 shots in our stomach a day to make sure that we didn't get bed sores and blood clots, because that's another COVID symptom from you being in the bed. But again, we weren't bathed. They took away this rule. I guess they don't do catheters anymore, so they have this little new system. But you're basically sitting in your own piss. And you're not being bathed, and it's like so many patients to one nurse, so you're pretty much sitting there waiting to be cleaned up. Again, you're not pooping because you're on all this crap. So if you did have to poop, you would have to build up enough strength to go to the bathroom. But again, it's just horrible conditions. So I truly believe also too, we were treated like numbers, not necessarily as, like in the olden days when, the nurses, and I get it. Everybody's scared. So it was like, oh, we're giving you guys all the same trial drugs. So it's like 5 different trial drugs that they were giving us. And the question I have was, okay, I understand you guys have no cure for COVID, but the regular pneumonia portion, that's not new. So I don't understand why we're not given the stuff that you would have normally given a sick pneumonia patient. Why everything was a trial. We were getting 5 different antibiotics, 2 shots to our stomach, to not cause blood clots. And then our sugar was tested, at least 7 times a day. So we were constantly, and then our blood was drawn every morning. So, and then all kind of steroids was put inside of our IVs, Zofran, because of the side effects. So the side effects of all the medication that they gave us: shortness of breath, rapid heart rate, high blood sugar, headaches. On top of that, I was on morphine because I was in so much pain. And in between the morphine, I was given Norcos. So we're given medicine that pretty much was giving us the same effects that we had from COVID. It was terrible. And a lot of, because we're constantly given the same stuff, I had about 3 nurses that I had told them, you're no longer authorized to give me any drugs, because one nurse she swore up and down to me and my family that I was given insulin for 2 days. Mind you, they know my family was watching. Every time they hung a drug up or put something in my IV, my family and I were asking, so what are you giving me? Because we knew the schedule of the medication. And one guy was like, oh, I'm giving her insulin. And I'm like, I'm not diabetic. And my sugar has not been off the charts, even though you guys are testing me 7 times a day. I had not had a test where my sugar was elevated. So I'm like crying because so me and my aunt are like, wait a minute, you can't give somebody that's not diabetic insulin. And he was like, oh no, we gave it to you 2 days. And I said, no, you gave my roommate insulin, but you haven't given me no insulin. And so, I was extremely depressed I was extremely depressed. I was hallucinating, because of the different medication. I was hallucinating. We hadn't bathed. I was hospitalized for 8 days. Hadn't bathed in 8 days. Brushed my teeth. So, the motto every day was fight, 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 fight for your life. And it was like, if COVID-19 pneumonia wasn't going to kill me, a nurse's mistake was going to kill me. Being depressed because you can't, me and my roommate didn't sleep because we can't breathe. Even though we're given oxygen and you're struggling to breathe, you can't take a deep breath. All you're constantly hearing is each other gasp for air. And then you're trying to eat, but you've completely lost your appetite. The food is disgusting. So you're just pretty much on fluids. I had lost over 10 pounds. And then you're constantly coughing. And then it's like, why would I'm drinking these fluids, but yet I'm sitting in piss. So, I don't know anybody that can fight in these conditions. I thank God for my family. 'Cause every day they prayed, every day, they sang to me, every day they encouraged me to fight and get out of there. When the nurses were being crazy and weird, it had got so bad that my cousin had to argue with one of the nurses because I told my cousin, like, she's going to kill me. Like, the lady is standing over me in the dark as a Grand Reaper, and I'm asking her, like, what is it that you want? It was really bad. And I want to encourage everybody to please keep your mask on, stay 6 feet, social distance, and if you don't really have to be outside, don't be outside. My PTSD, my anxiety, everything has completely acted up. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need therapy after this because just being on that floor and people dying, people not making it out of there, and you're just watching another person in the room with you fight for their life along with yours, it's just traumatizing. And you're alone. I thank God that my family was on FaceTime every day, but at the end of the day, you're alone. And if your family couldn't be on FaceTime, you died in there alone. Suffering. That's a very, we were suffering. We were in pain every day. Like, the morphine didn't even, I remember just being on morphine and Norcos and just being in so much pain, even on that stuff. I was just like, I'm just in so much pain. And it was horrible. When the doctors finally said that, I can go home, I went home on oxygen, and I basically went home with being still monitored by doctors, still having to check my heart rate, still having to check my oxygen levels, for 21 days. I battled with COVID pneumonia, and to know that I can get it again is just a terrible, horrible experience, and I wouldn't wish that on an enemy. It's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. Like, and just to be honest with you, every day we heard like, there's no cure. We're just trying to keep you guys comfortable in our suffering. We're just trying to keep you guys comfortable. And, I get it. They don't want to catch it. They're afraid. They don't want to bring it back to their family. I get it. That was the most inhumane experience in my life. And then to leave out of there, and then the nurses and the doctors, they line up, they clap, and they cheer. I thought that was only something that I saw on Grey's Anatomy, like that was really a joke, but that's real life. They even play a song throughout the hospital when a COVID patient gets to leave. I remember when I left the hospital, even though I was still on oxygen, like, I cried because the likelihood of us making it out once we're hospitalized is very low. Um, and I see so many people going to all of these events and they don't have their mask on. But I promise you, that's not in the hospital over COVID. It's not something that you want to happen to you. So I pray that everybody takes it seriously. Wash your hands. If you can order online, order online. If you can limit your contact with people as much as possible, limit your contact with people as much as possible, and just be safe. I really truly believe that once all of this is over, there's going to be so many malpractice lawsuits, because it just was insane in there. And at the same time, my sister's a nurse, my aunt's a nurse. I have several nurses in my family, so I thank them, for putting their life on the line. All the healthcare professionals, for putting their life on the line due to this pandemic. But a lot of people probably died. A lot of us, and I could have died my family had not been on FaceTime, just for the simple fact of somebody not paying attention, even though they have to scan our bands, just for the simple fact of people trying to hurry up and get out of our rooms and giving us the wrong stuff, or not really paying attention, or just not adjusting medications correctly. It had got so bad where I had to call the charge nurse, and the charge nurse had told, that she would tell all the nurses, you have to be on your P's and Q's with that patient, which is me. She was like, because her family is watching, you guys. Her family knows all the medication that she's on. Her family knows everything. So if you are not doing something right with that patient, her family sees it. They're all on FaceTime. You guys have several witnesses. You guys really need to pay attention to what you guys are doing with that patient, because her family is watching 24/7. There's somebody watching that particular patient. And she was like, so you guys can speak to them, but know that her family is watching. They know what she's supposed to be on and what she's not supposed to be on. And imagine all the people that probably died because nobody was watching, or nobody during the time that they were suffering were advocating for them, because my family were arguing with nurses and everything, because they were not, again, they were just trying, again, they were coming in trying to give us our medicine and get out of there. But a lot of them, they weren't giving me my shots correctly. They weren't giving me my medication correctly. Again, some of my medication, again, it's 2 of us to a room. So they were trying to give me her medication. It was crazy. And I tell you, it's not worth your life to go outside and go to these events and have all these functions and sneak links. It's not worth it. So I pray everyone's safety, and that we get through this, that this is over soon. You guys enjoy your weekend.